everybody, welcome to yet another edition of the Youth Dialogue, and I'm your host, Jainaba Sonko. So today we're right here in Kudang in CRR. So as you can see, the sun is really hot. I'm standing under the sun doing this introduction. It's really hot, but like written on my t-shirt, motivated. That's why I'm standing here today to talk to all of you guys. We are motivated to do this again and again. So if you've been observing the pattern that we've been taking for months, we've been partnering with Actionaid the Gambia to show you guys some of the activities that they're doing with young people and the way that they get to support young people right here in rural Gambia. So today, the rainy season has started and they are supporting 25 young people with farming implements ranging from a donkey cart to other materials that they can use in their respective farms to participate in agriculture, because they have observed that irregular migration is still in existence, and the only way to solve it, or a way to solve this, is to encourage young people to venture into agriculture. So today we'll be going to the different farms of some beneficiaries. We will also be talking to Fafa Cham right here. He's the project manager of this particular project, so we'll be talking to him, and I can't wait to go to the field to see what these young people have to offer. They've not started yet really. Some of them are clearing, some of them are poultry farmers, they're setting the ground and all of that. So we just want to go see what these people have to offer in future. So let's go take a look at that. Hi Fafa.
Hello, Jainaba.
Hi. So thank you so much for having us.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, so I was just talking about the fact that this project is very important because in a way it's trying to address irregular migration. I think that is the part that really caught my attention.
That's right.
Yes. So how did it come about? Take us through that.
Good. That's great. If you looked at actually it developed, it has developed what we call country strategy paper. In this strategy paper, there's one ambition that says it will build the capacities of communities to stand against the impacts of climate change.
Yeah.
And you would agree with me that climate change spares nobody. It affects men, women, youths. But it mostly affects, or the impact of climate change is worse on women and youths.
Yeah.
You will see that the Gambia climate change is characterized by irregular or erratic rainfalls.
Yeah.
When there are erratic rainfalls, what is likely to happen is yield would be reduced. And then this has led to youths abandoning agriculture
Yes.
because it is not quite lucrative and they are facing a lot of problems with it.
Challenges.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the contributing factors is, of course, you know, when rains are limited, for you to at least get something, you must do some timely sowing of your nuts.
Yeah.
If you are late and there are limited rains, the chances is you get very little.
Yeah.
So Actionaid has recognized that fact. And now let's look at the most vulnerable youths and help them with farm implements and inputs like seeds. In that case, we challenge or we get through the apex to identify us about 25 youths who are very vulnerable. And of course, not only vulnerable, they must also be hardworking. So that we can provide them this implement. With this implement, now we believe that they will be able to start their farm operations very early. As soon as there are rains, now that the youth has his own donkey, his own seeder, his own sign hoe, and of course seeds, that guy will go and sow his nuts as soon as the rains are down. So that is the whole idea about it. And not only that, we also looked at, we said, okay, fine, let's see youths who are also into poultry production. Because diversification is also very good. You don't have to like depend on one thing. When you diversify your crop production, your chances or your building your capacity to stand against this impact of climate change would be huge. So we said, okay, let's look at youths that are into poultry production. We also support them. And then in that case, we identified 4 youths, also identified by the apex. We support them with initial capital that they will be able to buy 150 day-old chicks, give them the feed that is required, the medication that is required, and then they will pick up their production.
Okay, but I hope the selection process was transparent because I mean, I remember I hosted the Youth Empowerment Project recently, and I was talking to them about the fact that most of these selection processes are really hard because young people sometimes are like, okay, it was pre-arranged and all of that. So hope the selection process was really put in a very strict way that it's the well-deserved young people and women that are getting this.
I want to tell you, with ActionAid, we believe in empowerment. So we do not have to, in as much as ActionAid is funding the activity, but we don't have to do every process.
Okay.
Some of the processes are left in the hands of our partners, and these are the apex. The apex identify the individuals.
Okay.
Of course, we have gone some verification, not to all of them actually, but we at least pick few of them and see what is their status. And we have realized that amongst the individuals that we have that are selected and that we met, all of them are deserving.
Okay.
So based on that, we definitely believe or we presume that every selected individual is deserving to get this package.
Yeah, so Fafa, I'm aware of the fact that you guys decided to train them. You decided to train them in the different areas they're trying to pursue. So how did that training go? And after their training, what has been the impression of these young people and women?
Thank you, Jainaba. As you rightly said, the package is beyond giving out inputs and implement. We've also conducted training on climate resilient sustainable agriculture. What this entails is farmers are trained on agricultural practices that are in line or that, when practiced, could cope with climate change issues. Like if you get into, for example, crop production, how can you conserve uh, the moisture so that even if there are little rains, your crops will do well? How can you improve the soil fertility of your fuel fertility without using compound fertilizer? Like we only use organic matters, composting for that matter. So these are practices that are very helpful, particularly with now that we are facing climate change. During the training, actually, we were impressed that youth have shown enthusiasm. They were very happy and they participated very well. That shows, in fact, that has motivated us more to believe that they will be able to make use of the package and then improve their lives and livelihoods.
Okay, is there a mechanism put in place to kind of follow up with these young people? Because we all know how sustainability is in Gambia. It's really hard most of the time to sustain projects because projects come, and at the end of the day, if you look 3 years or 2 years after, you can't trace that particular project. So what mechanisms are put in place to actually monitor these young people?
That's a very good question. Actually, is very concerned with sustainability because it is one thing to implement, but another thing to sustain. And the implementation could only be meaningful if it is sustained. And that is exactly why ActionAid is getting through the apexes. Because ActionAid realized that one day or the other, it will leave the Nyaminas.
Yeah.
And maybe somewhere. And then when it leaves the Nyaminas, how would it be sustained? So we expect that the apexes will sustain it. What we plan to do to ensure that is sustained, we are forced to ensure that the right individuals are selected. And that's what the apex has done. Because we believe that if you identify the problem and you know this is your problem, and somebody come in to support in solving that problem, then we hope whatever is given to you will be taken care of. The second thing is there will be continuous monitoring, and this monitoring will be joint monitoring, in which ActionAid, the apex, and the chiefs will participate to be visiting these individual beneficiaries and see how far have they gone. In fact, I want to tell that an MOU is signed between all the participants and the apex plus ActionAid that one of the conditions is they must make best use of the equipment or the implements. If they have not, or if they did not, we are going to, or the apex is going to retrieve the given implements and give it to somebody who is worthy. Okay. So we are hopeful that the monitoring visits that we plan would be able to tell us how far have individuals gone, and would determine whether these implements should be left in the hands of the beneficiaries that are selected as of now, or no, this guy is not deserving, so we should get it from him or her and give it to somebody else who is more deserving. So in a nutshell, yes, there is, because we'll be conducting a regular monthly visits to all the beneficiaries, and I said this will be a joint one. That is, Actionaid will be there, the Kills will be there, and then the Apex will also be there.
Okay, I'm happy about the fact that there will be some sense of sustainability, because in the Gambia here, I think this is an issue that I have most of the time with projects that are brought in, especially projects for young people. Some of these projects are so ambitious, they're so good, but at the end of the day, if you look 2 years down the line, then you can't trace some of these projects. So I talked about the fact that we will be going shortly to their respective farms to check what they have to offer. Obviously, they're not doing anything major right now. Some of them are clearing. Even the poultry farms, they don't have the animals there yet. But we just want to show you guys that these young people are ready to venture into agriculture. So finally, what message do you have for these young people that are about to venture into agriculture?
Before that, I want to tell you, okay, something is done. The fact that they have done they are clearing,
yes,
of course, which is the first stage in the production.
Yes.
So they have already done their clearing, just waiting for the rains to come. And of course, with the help of this equipment, they will start their sowing as soon as they have. What I have for the youth is they must understand that nobody can develop anybody. You are the only one that can develop yourself. What people or individual or institution can do is to pave the way to development. Now it's up to the individual to follow that road and then get to development, be developed. Or you relax and then stay on the develop for the rest of your life. So Actionaid has done this. This is one of the challenges that they have faced. Lack of implement, inadequate seeds, inadequate. Actionaid has now come in to provide the implements for these youths. They've come in to provide the needed seeds for these youths. Now the rest is in the hands of these youths to make sure that these things that are given are properly utilized. That is now timely planting of their or sowing of their nuts, weeding it properly, and at the end of the day, we expect that there will be rain and they will have good harvest. Make the best use of the harvest. So these are my words to the youths, and I repeat it: nobody can develop an individual. It is the individual that develops himself.
Okay.
Yes.
But Fafa, how are you dealing with the heat? I think this is something we're talking about, okay? We are dealing with a lot of heat in this interview. So how do you deal with the heat, Fafa? I want to know that, because I know I'm suffering. So how do you deal with it? Tell us.
Jainaba, I think maybe I want to say that I'm into this now. I spent most part of my life in extension. And most part of my postings is the URR and CRR. So it becomes part and parcel of me. I'm used to the heat. Maybe because you are a visitor, okay. You are not used to the weather condition. Yeah. Unfortunately, or I don't know whether it's fortunately, for me, I am actually used to it now, so I can fully cope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing that we have the chance to get to come here. That is why most of the time I say thank you to Actionaid with this projects funded by the EU. I think it is really good that we get to have this partnership. In as much as I'm providing all of you amazing content from rural Gambia, I'm getting to learn these things like how to deal with heat. So thank you so much, Fafa, for granting us this interview. So I guess now we'll get to go to their respective farms, just to show the public what these young people have to offer. Altogether, they're 25, but obviously it's just 1 hour. We can't show you the whole of the 25, but just to, show you bits and pieces of different activities that these young people are up to. So we will take a short break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay tuned.
Tobuski Act Style 4.0 coming soon on QTV. Sponsors invited.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. Like I mentioned before we went for the break, we are going to these young people's different areas just to show you guys what they've done so far and what they plan to do to ensure that this project is sustainable. So we had a conversation with Fafa Cham and he talked about the fact that hopefully this can be one of those very sustainable projects. So when we talk to these young people, then we will get to assess how ready they are to ensure that that happens. So I have Ablai Jallo here. Ablai, nice to meet you. Okay, so Ablai, buga naa nga wax ñu yow lan moo la motivate pour nga dugga si farming parce que foog naa balaa ñoo wax affaire project bi sax dafa important pour nga wax ñu yow naka nga dooree motivation bi fan la jógee because farming nekk na benn area bi nga xam ne young people yi sawaruñ si torop ndaw yi sawaruñ si xaw ma tayal la ndax xëj na ñoom office lañ bëgg a toog so bëgg naa understand yow lana tax nga ne ok man farming laa bëgg a def instead of dem back way wala toog si office or def beneen job boo xam ne nit ku la gis dina la judge even if you're not rich so léegi wax ñu motivation boobu naka la ñëwee.
waaw loolu moom dégg la affaire si lu ma dugg si affaire farming bii nii dama si gis interest bu bari because of dama dee am lu bari si moom nga tool bi bu ngay gis nii yëpp suma tool la. te nekkul ne bii rek laa dee bay am naa bu nga xam ne ëpp na bii tamit sax boobu tamit foofu laa dee bay mboka fii suuna ak gerte bi laa fi dee bay waaw so loolu moo tax ma depuis ma gis suma départ bi last year dama am bu bari so this year loolu moo tax ma bugga tamit pour ma gën a yokkaat bu last year bi.
ok so yow lan nga dee bay exactly.
man dama dee bay gerte dama dee bay dugub dama dee bay mboka te dama dee bay tamit saro tamit.
ok
waaw
waaye man dafa am loo xam ne comme ni ma ko waxee rek foog ñu wax si foundation bi. balaa ñoo dugg si project bi itself. because man dafa am lu ma gis biir Gambia. in terms of farming. mooy ne ñun lu nekk la ñoo import. ñun dañoo import kaani. dañoo import cucumber. te soo ko seetloo fiil naa ne ñun war nañoo mun a am lii fii. soo yow lan nga gis si loolu lan mooy problème bi. lan moo tax ñun ñu ak Gambia nu mu ndawee. te suñ soil bi mu ngi baax. lan a tax bi léegi ñun ñuy war a import.
loolu moom ñeme naa waa ne xam nga ñun ndaw si léegi ku nekk mu ngi bugg a dem affaire baaguwee bi. soo ñun suñ dëkka comme ça suñ dëkka nii sax ñu ngi am ne laan bu bari bu nga xam ne. war nañ fa def ay garden yu bari waaye suñ doole bi moo fa àggut waaw so loolu mooy suñ problème bi fekkee suñ doole bi àggoon na fa kay ñeme naa la waxoon ne kaane ak yeneen ak ay jakatu yi nii yëpp mën nañ ko doon liggéey si suñ biir àll bi fii fekkee demuñ fenn ñu am fii lu ñuy dundee.
ok so yow da nga foog ne support baa fa nekkul.
waaw
waaye ñu ne ndaw yi nag ñoom all the time dañ dee nekk di toog di wax support. duñ dee bëgg a jóg jël initiative on their own. dañoo bëgg a xaar support all the time yow lan nga foog si loolu.
waaw loolu moom tamit dégg la boo bëggee nit pour mu jàppale la il faut nga jàppale sa boppa lan mooy jàppale sa boppa bi yow yaa dee form sa foundation bi ba pare nit ku ñëw mu gis sa foundation bi daf lay xam ne waaw kii moom dafa war a jàppale il faut ñu jàppale ko waaye su fekkee defaraloo sa foundation bi kenn mënut daa ñëw foofu noonu mu ne il faut mu jàppale si defloo si foundation bi.
ok so yow naka nga dooree. yow pour ñu jàppale la nga dooree. waaw da nga dooral sa bopp bëgg naa xam loolu tamit.
waa pour si lifin bi. waaw ñu dañ maa jàppale. waaw
mën nañoo dox rek parce que foog naa ne mun nga maa war a won tamit. lan moo fi nekk lan moo available ak si lan ngeen nekk. so yow ndax yow da nga starté ñu jàppale la. ndax yow da nga yaa dooral sa bopp ba nga àgga fii tey yow naka nga dooree. waaw
comme bii nii fii nii man maa fi doon dooral suma boppa ba ma àgga fii after yàlla def ne tamit ma gisee ak ñi ñu soog a ma bugg a jàppale. so loolu tamit gis ngeen ko tey dem ngeen si place bi gis ngeen ay machines yi ak jiw bi te mbaam bi boobu tam mu si kër gi waaw so ñoom dañ ma bugg a jàppale pour ma mën a dem si kanam waaw.
ok waaye yow naka nga ko dee defee because man normally su ma dee def programme. si youth dialogue. dama dee wax ne. programme bi dafa nekk programme boo xam ne mentorship la. mentorship mooy. am na xale bi nga xam ne mu ngi toog kër. xëy na farming la bëgg a def. si yow la mun a jàngee. understand nga. yow naka nga ko dee defee naaj bi mu tànga lool. xam nga liggéey bi métteeg yow. yow lan moo la dee pousse ba nga xam ne yow da ngaa eewu every suba ñëw sa farm bi mun a farm.
waaw pour loolu. gis nga comme ñun xale yi. da ngay toog fii nga gis sa morom. mu am dara. nga bugg a wane man de gis naa kii nii am na lii ak lii te xamuloo fa naka la ko amee so boo buggee xam ne naka la ko amee because of ndaw si ñu bari léegi ñu ngi dem baakoy spécial suñ déega fii nii ñu ngi ñëw sampa def lu nekka so ñun tamit si loolu lañ dee gis ñu ne léegi xaaral ñun tamit ñu dellu si back to the land ñu xaru ñu mën a bay ñu mën a defend waaw njëriñ suñu boppa waaw.
so yow because of yow ni nga gisee ndaw yi di demee léegi. loolu moo la dee pousse. nga jóg ñëw si sa famille.
mun a liggéey.
yow mus ngaa toog back way ñëw sa xel bi.
man
pour dem si yooni gaal bi ndax mus ngaa toog frustré ba ne man sa léegi bugaatuma. faamatuma. man back way rek laay gis Europe rek laay gis. ndax yow loolu mus ngaa toog ba toolu si position boobu noonu.
waaw loolu moom dégg la. dama ko dee xalaat. waaye bu ma ko xalaatee tamit ma ñëw tajal ko suma parents yi gars yi dañ ma dee wax ne non because ñun suñ sago da ngay dellu si back to the farmer nga bay nga mën a njëriñ loo sa bopp gannaaw yaa ngi amee sa njaboot mun nga contrôle sa njaboot bi fii nga mën a lifin balaa kuy dem Europe mu ñëw mun naa la man tamit am naa lii mun naa am website boo góorgóorlee fii bu jógee Europe mun naa la man maa ngi drive suma moto bii nii mun nga ko wane waaw loolu moom dégg la waaye man tamit commencé naa samp suma site bii nii waaw léegi tamit gis nga suma jabra baa ngi nii maa ngi amee ay suma doom mun naa nekk ak sa doom yooyu noonu buñ jàngee mun nañ replace loo waroon na am wala sa morom bi lu mu am mu ëppa kooku noonu. waaw
man dafa am li nga wax léegi ni dama si kontaan trop. mooy ne yow pare nga pour investi sa doom yi. because man dama dee ne nit soo amee sa doom. nga def si moom. investment la. du ne sax ne. xëj na da nga am looy séntu si xale bi. waaye dafa ne. nga toog gis sa doom. mu doon dara. soo man li nga wax nii am na solo trop de yow fan nga jàngee loolu.
man. waaw si fu ma jàngee loolu si nit ñi rek laa ko dee jàngee. because of dama dee gis ñu bari. comme suñ morom yi fii nii because of man mi suma morom yi yëpp ñu ma doon àndal yëpp time bi nii ñu ngi Europe so yaa ngi gis so man tamit depuis ma xaru ne ma ne damay dem rek suma gars yi ñu ne ma léegi xaral lu ñuy def dinañ uti jabar boo utee jabar nga loolu yëpp pour ñu mën a laa téye rek because of boo utee jabar ba commencé am sa njaboot doo mën a dem nga bàyyi sa njaboot bi fekkee am loolu lu ñuy mën a coopee foofu noonu il faut nga mën a nekk nga toog nga xaru.
waaye gis nañ fi ñu am doom ba pare am ay jabar bàyyi fi seen jabar yi dem baakuwee dee fa ñun gis nañ fi loolu.
waaw loolu la waaye man suma boppa man dama dee yuga yooyu sax ma ne diw kaari dem na. waaye man tamit il faut ma try ma dem waaye man dama dee xalaat ne ma ne boo gisee ne kooku dem na mun naa am wërsëg bi moo nekkul benn mun naa am man suma wërsëg bi si biir Gambia fii la nekk.
il faut baakuwee sax. benn wërsëg nekku fa. man loolu laa dee wax man dama dee wax ne baakuwee wërsëg nekkut foofu noonu because most of the time ñi nga gis ñuy dem duñ la dee wax exactly lu fa nekk di happen dañ laa wax fake stories yoo xam ne di la jéem a nax so baakuwee daal let's just put it this way there is no success story attached to it fii daal mën nañ ko fee teekee
Okay.
mën nañ koo méegee biir Gambie
waaw mën nañ
so
koo
fii
make fii.
waaye lii rëy na de so bii laan bi naka nga ko acquire bii naka nga ko amee
bii
waaw
xam nga bii cosaan laan la
ok
comme suma maam moo fi nekkoon alkaali bi
waaw
so daf doon jël ay surga yu bari
waaw
ñoo dee
lan mooy
ñëw
surga
ay mbindaan ñu dee liggéey si nawet bi
ok ok comme
loolu
how ñu leen di help daal
waaw help waaw
waaw
ñoo doon ñëw di gor yooyu noonu
waaw
after te njaboot bi ñun tamit suñ njaboot bi mu woon amee ba 4 jabar
Waaw.
doom yi tamit dañ bari woon
waaw
so si booba lañ ñëw ñu séddoo tool yi
Waaw.
depuis mu gaañu ñu séddoo tool yi waaye suma njaboot ñu bari ñoom dañ toxu ñeneen ñi dem Kombo ñeneen ñi demee beneen boor
Waaw.
waaye man suma papa right na moom moo fi nekk alkaali bi
ok
gis nga moom moo fi jiitu so loolu moo ma may laan bii nii yëpp
ok
because of bii nii am naa lu nga xam ne bu dafa ëpp bii nii sax
ok
boobu mbokk rek laa dee
Mboxa nga fa
waaw
dee ji.
laa dee
so
ji
bii
foofu
how big is it bii how big is this
pour réyaayam bi
waaw
waaw gis nga depuis banta bu ngay gis ne mu ngi
Waaw.
taxaw na le
banta bele
banta bale ba ñëw si lifin banta garab bu ngay gis noonu
Garab bele.
waaw
Bu mag bi.
waaw bu mag bi
Waaw.
boobu yëpp suma onda tool la nekk
ok
waaw
Ok.
waaye yii tamit suma tool la nekkoon waaye suma unkul laa fi may
moom nga fa may
waaw
moom
moom
pour
laa
mu
fa
tam
may pour
mu
mo
ji.
waaw moom tamit
ok
mën a dee
so léegi
mën a
gis
fi
nañ la
boppam.
Actionaid jox nañ la sarati mbaam
Waaw.
jox nañ la yeneen farming implements yi nga xam ne mën nga koo use so naka nga gisee loolu naka la laa jàppalee
waaw loolu moom kana di leen sant di leen gërëm because of depuis ma xam suma boppa musuma pour man sax suma boppa musuma am golo musuma am cumuwaar so seen lifin moo taane ñoom tamit ñu gis ma si lu ma bugg a liggéey ñu bugg a maa jàppale si loolu maa leen di sant di leen gërëm si loolu bu baax a baax
waaye nag am na lu nekk Gambia
waaw
mooy ne sustainability nga am dara
waaw
loolu tegu fa ba ñeneen ñëw jëfandoo ko dañ gis ne li nga xamante ne lu jafe la biir Gambia
Waaw.
so yow naka nga paree pour make sure ne dëgga yow si farming bi nga nekk nii
waaw
mu ngi sustainable bi nga xam ne yow di nga toog toon ko into a factory wala leneen sax
Waaw.
ba ngay process sax yow loolu fan nga ko séentu
waaw loolu maa ngi ko séntu bu baax a baax pour ma mën a defandeku loolu lu nga dee explain nii
waaw
because of comme suma mbokk yi nii wala bu ma bayee fii saro wala dugub gis nga daf dee am ne i machine yu ko dee wol because of même léegi nii sax comme lay Brikamba fii boo buggee saku comme ñeele nii bu fekkee da nga koo bugg a togg pour cuura ñu ngi jaay ay saku yooyu noonu foofu noonu so yow tamit léegi boo fi mënee bay mbokk wala suuna nga wol ko ba pare nga am ñeele yooyu noonu nga def ko si saku mun nga koo jaay nga defandikoo sa bopp waaw.
ok so ñu dem nga won ma fan la laan bi commencé su ko defee ñu xool how big this is
Okay.
so yow nga nekk ndaw tamit
waaw
am nga jabar am nga ay doom
waaw
so yow naka ngaa woogee towards yow sa education yi doom yi loolu bëgg naa koo xam de
pour suma education doom bi
waaw ndax
Because
loolu
of-
yaa ngi koo plan
waaw maa ngi ko obala plan because of jaar naa si génnewuma because of dem naa school ma woon ne dëgër bopp ba ma génne si te gis naa ne lu ma génne si affaire school bi léegi xam naa si affaire si dara so loolu moo tax ne ma man tam ma bugg a suma doom yi ma stand bàyyi leen ba ñoom tam ñu mën a nekk dara si man waaw.
man loolu de kontaan naa si
Waaw.
because dañ dee wax ne yow foo jaar
waaw
doo nangu sa doom yi jaar fa
Jaar
te
fa,
fo naa ñun as young people baax na ñuy seetaat suñ life
waaw
su ko defee suñ seetee suñ life ñu xam ñun luñ daj
Waaw.
pour suñ doom yi buñ ko mun a daj
Dëgg la.
man loolu foog naa ne lu bari la waaye est-ce que xam nga ne nag boo jiyee ba pare dinaa ñëwaat man saaku nga maa jox
waaw loolu moom du nekk problème bu soobee yàlla.
so Ablaye xam nga ne nag man dinaa ñëwaat at some point because su ma ñibbi in July kañ laa war a ñëw ban month moo nekk month bi nga xam ne yow loo war a ji dina fekk mu pare
bon mu ngay war a ñëw comme septembre bu fekkee ñëw na time boobu dafay fekk affaire bi yëpp léegi dajale nañ ko mun naa koo génneel foofu moom tamit ak worsekam mu mun a àndal loolu ak kombo bu fekkee àggana kombo xam naa ne du mun a fàtte Ablaye dafay wax ne bii moom Ablaye moom a fi ko defal
bii Ablaye moo ma ko
Waaw.
defaroon so which means land bi fii la
waaw laan bi
doore
fii la
Ok, si banta bi
waaw
fii,
si banta bi
exactly.
fii la em waaw
ok mu dem ba si guy bi
waaw
fële
dem bi si guy bu ngay gis noonu
ok
Waaw.
amazing land bi moom rëy na
waaw
so dinañ expect ne
waaw
suñ fi dellu si waatee dinañ fi fekka loo xam ne
waaw bu soobee yàlla moom kay
waaw suñ fi dellu si waatee dinañ fekka ne fii yëpp a ngi fees and it looks green and all of that
inshallah
we're looking forward to that
Okay.
so léegi yow lan nga ban message nga am pour ndaw yi nga xamante ne ñu ngi seetaan te yow ñoom bëgg nañu nekk farmers yow ban message nga am pour ñooñu
pour ndaw yu bëgg a nekk pour affaire farmers waaw man moom lu ma leen di explainal ñoom comme anga lii moom neexul affaire famine moom il faut nga forcer sa bopp rek so nañ jóg ñun ñëpp ñu mën a dugg si affaire mbéy bi because of boo déggee ne comme like léegi nii yëpp ñu ngi comme ñun bay doole yi ñu ñëpp ñu ngi jooy saako maalo dafa seer mu ngi dem time bii nii around $1,400 te léegi boo bayee lu ngay lekka mun na am doo mën a dem jënda lu ngay lekkee yow si lu nga bay si loolu ngay génne nga dem jaay nga mën a ñëw njëriñ loo sa bopp tamit waaw.
so yow daal yaa ngi wax gaay ne
waaw nañ jóg ñu dugg si mbéyam bi rek waaw man loolu laa fi mën a wax.
waaw so jërëjëf Ablaye thank you so much jërëjëf si li ñu dalal fii nii comme ni ma ko waxee ñu ngi xaar nag su ko defee suñ fi dellu si waatee ñu ñëw fekk fii yëpp green parce que clé nga def nga maño bi and everything ba pare ma bëgg a xam tam balaa ñoo tàggatoo ndax yow organic farming nga dee def right because gis naa fi ay animal dung ak yooyu noonu.
waaw
okay so which do they use fertilizers.
waaw dama dee
chemical fertilizers.
dama dee use local fertilizer bi.
okay local
just like waaw last time gars yi dañ ma yóbbuwoon ñii ak ñoom Actionaid.
waaw
yóbbu ñu train ñu affaire fertilizer bi.
ngeen understand
because of léegi ñun saa si suñ bopp dañ bugg a xeene pour affaire fertilizer bi wala posin bi. because of loolu daf ñu dee di stop.
daf leen dee di stop.
waaw. so léegi loolu lañ bëgg a dawloo.
ok
so gars yi yàlla def na dem nañ foofu train nañ ñu affaire posin bi. train nañ ñu affaire lu ñuy mën a defee ay fertilizer. waaw léegi boobu laa bëgg a
indi sa
waaw indi fii nii. ma liggéey ko fii comme bu fekkee ji naa suma gerte bi ak suma mboka bi yëpp mun naa ko jaarlee foofu rek fekkee du ma dee jënd beneen fertilizer. waaw loolu laa di say.
ok baax na jërëjëf Ablaye appreciate nañ sa time bi torop. jërëjëf.
Okay.
So viewers, we are going to a next stop. ñu ngi dem feneen pour seeti beneen young person ak kooku tamit lan la am pour offer si Actionaid support bu ñu leen nekk di provider. So ñu dem si beneen stop. We have a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So we're still here in Kudang. This is our episode with Actionaid, the Gambia, where we get to show you the activities of Actionaid linked, obviously, to young people. So we are here at Kausu Tourist House. So Kausu is working on having a poultry farm right here. So Kausu has been giving $30,000 by Actionaid to actually develop his poultry farm and make it good, you know, to an extent that he will be able to employ other young people and eventually grow. So Kausu, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I am so happy to meet you.
Thank
and
you.
Congratulations, you have a $30,000 to work on your business. I know it isn't a lot, but tell us, is it something that you can walk around to have something sustainable?
Yeah, well, hence poultry is concerned. It's a good start of capital because we're dealing with broiler bats, not layers. Layers are very difficult to manage. When we deal with broilers, I think 30,000 will be enough to start as a capital.
Okay, so why is that difficult to manage?
Layers need a lot of things to do because you need too much of food and then lighting have to be there 24 hours in order to enable them to gain heat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wow, then that's difficult to handle, right?
Yeah, layers are very difficult to
So
handle.
if somebody wants to do layers,
Yeah.
what would you suggest as a startup capital? What do you think should be
Well,
a startup?
it depends on the owner.
Okay.
It depends on the person who want to start with it, because
Okay.
if you said you need 100 layers or 100 bats, and then after that of that amount, I don't think it will be sufficient to start
It won't
when
be
if you're dealing with layers.
Okay, so amazing. So now, what do you have now? You know, Actionaid gave you $30,000, but I know you started somewhere before Actionaid, right?
No, this is my starting.
This is your start.
After finishing my course as a poultry farmer, this is my
Okay.
starting.
All right.
Yeah.
So how was the course? What are some of the things that you learned that you feel you'll be able to share with us?
Well, during the course of the year, or during the story time, you deal with different ways of managing poultry, their health, how to feed, and then their duration, and then all sort of things. We discussed them, we did them during the course.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite good. So do you have a designated area? You
Yeah,
have
well,
a designated area, right?
yeah,
Where
yeah.
you want to do this.
Yeah, this is the house that we prepared for.
Okay.
Yeah,
That one over there.
yeah.
Okay. Wow. So you did the building on your own?
Yes, actually they only give you the money, but the house you have to do it on your own.
Okay.
Yeah,
Amazing. This is great. I think it's looking really good.
yeah.
So really, what motivated you to, you know, venture into this? You know, considering the fact that most young people wouldn't want to do this. They would want to be in an office setting and all of that.
This is part of me since I was young.
Okay.
I can just tell a brief about myself, which put me into the animal health sector.
Okay.
Since I was young, I used to take this sponge and then cut it off, use a spring and needle that I already used, put water on it, strike to withdraw it. So during with that, and then after finishing my course, I did it necessary and find a school where they deal with animals, that is Gambia College School of Agriculture.
Amazing.
So from there, and then I see to itself that before moving to another place or developing other countries, I did it necessary to do it in my own country.
Yes.
But due to some circumstances, I was not able to have it. But with the help of Actionaid, I'm really much proud of them giving me such an amount to start my own capital.
With your own capital.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is like a dream come true.
Yeah,
for
this
you.
have been in me since I was young.
Okay.
Yeah, I always like I love animals. That's general.
So now that you have $30,000 startup capital, so where are you going to start from now? What is the next plan?
Good.
So that's the building.
this is
Before
the
you
building,
answer,
yeah.
oh, I love it. This is okay, but is this big enough to actually accommodate what you're trying to do?
Yes, when we are dealing with brawlers,
Yes.
because for them they are not difficult to manage.
Okay.
And then even they are crowded.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that overcrowded, but you'll be able to manage
Actually
with them.
manage them.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the spot.
Yeah, this is the house, and then
Okay.
here this is 5 meter by 4 meter 50.
Okay.
So I think we are able to accommodate some.
Okay.
Some
But
back.
at some point, do you plan to expand?
Of course, yes.
Because
I would like to supply the whole country.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can't supply the whole country with
With
this.
this, no,
So this is just
This is just a starter.
So at some point, you have space. You
Yeah.
can eventually expand the building.
Not even here. We have
Yes.
a garden over there. We just want to take it to there, but the fact is, it's not safe. Nobody is sleeping there.
Okay.
So we have to bring it here as a starter capital. We have a garden where we plan to do such things there.
Okay, amazing. Wow. So now tell us, the building is here.
Yes.
You've been given $30,000.
Yeah.
What next?
Just to start.
Yeah, to start.
Without
What do
wasting
you
more
what
time.
do you intend to start with? I want you to also help the young people out there who are watching,
Good.
who would want to also venture into the same thing.
As-
So now,
as-
what is the plan?
As we speak, I have practical with some of the youths who want to know some about animals.
Okay.
Yeah, when I'm going to the bush, or when I'm going for PP, when I'm going for injection, they normally follow me and I'll show them how to manage with their animals. Even some of their houses, I have to be there controlling them and then having conversation with them in order to understand the welfare of the animals.
Okay. So now, where are you going to start with now? What are you going to buy first? Take us
Good.
through.
From here, when the house is completed,
Yes.
we have to disinfect the house already
Okay.
first before bringing the birds in.
Okay.
Because they are very sensitive to some of these diseases.
Yes.
Like from here, when the house is completed, we bring in the materials,
Okay.
everything in, then we bring in the birds. We start the process.
Okay, so where are you getting the birds from?
Normally, we bought them from Combo.
Okay, you buy them from Congo.
Yeah,
And then where do you intend to get the feeds as well?
good. The feeds too, we buy them.
Okay.
But I do some feed formulation by my own.
Okay.
That is pawpaw leaf and then moringa leaf.
Okay.
When you dry them off from the sun, you pound it, and then when it is powder, you can mix it with the food, which is very good for the animals.
Okay, but I know this is not the only thing you're gonna focus on.
No.
So what else do you intend to focus
from here after Tobaski, because here this year is very prompt to start sheep fattening.
Okay.
So immediately after Tobaski, we are going in for the sheep also.
Okay.
Sheep fattening, yeah.
So that's what you intend to do.
Of course.
So I am looking forward to him having a whole complex of animals. You know, I'm just the way you are explaining to me with the energy and all of that. I'm just seeing you as an individual who can have such a big complex with different animals. You know.
Oh yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
That's my dream. That's what I want.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
so
what I
can you
want.
give the young people out there some tips? If somebody wants to study agriculture or animal husbandry like you did and all of that, what are some of the tips? What are some of the steps that an individual is supposed to take to be as good as you are?
Good. First, if you want to involve yourself in animal husbandry, well, you have to know the welfare of the animal first.
Okay.
That's number one thing.
Okay.
If you don't know the welfare of the animals, then if you start, you are going to fail. And then you need to, their health also need to be the first thing that you need to consider, more especially their house and their feeding, water, their health. If you don't have that in your mind, then if you start, you are going to fail immediately.
You're going to fail.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, guys, you heard it from him. You have to make sure that the welfare is there and all of that. And I like the fact that you get to learn this and you have the birds here.
Yeah.
So that means that, you know, these are birds that will be well taken care of because you already
yes.
have the background.
Oh yes.
And when we were at Kudang at the launching of the distribution, I like the fact that you talked about animal welfare to those that got the donkey carts and all of that. I think it was really important that you talked about that because having these materials is one thing, but being able to sustain is another thing. So what message do you have for Actionaid the Gambia for providing you the support?
Well, I can just say thanks to them. If there is no word to use more than thanks, I'm giving them that word.
Okay, what's that word? Tell us that word.
Actionaid have been doing a lot since I
Okay.
was young, since I was going to school.
Yes.
Especially this child sponsorship.
Yeah.
They have been doing it for us, giving us books, bags, pens, and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So if Actionaid come back to me again, since those days up to now, having this in mind, that giving me something that I will able to develop my country, I will able to come up with something that will help me and the nation at large, then I'm saying to them, thank you.
Okay, so what message finally do you have for young people out there, you know, in relation to even the back way? Because you could have gone to the back way. Even before we wrap up, did it ever come to your mind that you want to go through the back way?
Well, using that way, it have never came to my mind.
Did it ever? Let's have a real talk, you guys.
No.
Did it ever come to your mind, ever, that you're so frustrated and said to yourself, I am going through the back way?
No, me, I'm very much focused in whatever I'm doing.
That's very good.
More especially when it comes to animal things.
Yeah.
I'm very much focused.
Amazing.
Yeah, you know, we cannot go, you know, loving your country, and then the youths also have to be committing.
Okay.
Loving your country and willing to stay in your country and willing to work for your country and willing to die for your country.
Okay.
Though what they are in for, going in for back way, is another way. But for me, I disagree with it. We have everything in our country. Our soil are fertile. We have greener pasture. We have everything. So if we are focused in whatever we are doing, then going to the back way, to me, is going to be meaningless.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how you see it.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm happy about the fact that it never came to your mind because, you know, to a lot of people that I talk to, it's the only option that they have.
To me, I disagree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Going to back way is the last option.
It's the last option
It's
for
the
you.
last option.
Let it not even be an option. Going to back way for me should not be an option. So final words to young people out there and we are done with you.
Yeah.
But just to tell you that I'll be collecting my eggs. I'll be coming to collect my eggs.
But I told you before, I'm not in for layers.
Oh, okay.
I told you before.
So he's running away, right?
No.
He's
but
running away, right?
I told you.
Yes, I know. I'm just teasing. I'm
Okay.
just teasing.
I understand.
So, Kausu, what final words do you have for young people out there?
Young people have to be participating in national development. Young people have to be committed and responsible enough. Know that they only have one Gambia.
Okay.
If you said to people, I'm a farmer, they belittle you, they term you as somebody
Yes.
who have no other job to do
Yeah.
rather than farming. But this is a notion in people, but it have to change.
Yes, it
The
should.
only way to change it is to sensitize people.
Yes.
And then they see the real picture that what this guy is saying about agriculture is the real thing. Because you cannot say it's only poor people who involved in farming.
Yeah.
That's I disagree with that.
And
Because
in other countries, the richest individuals there are actually farmers.
seriously, they're
Yes,
the farmers.
yes.
So, but we have that in us, but that thing have to change.
Okay.
It can only be changed when those involved in agriculture, even not in agriculture, educationists have to come back to the urban areas and
Yes.
sensitize people about that.
Sure.
Because if you see the minister in the farm, you really know that what people are saying, that farming is only poor people who involve themselves in the farming, you disagree with it.
Yes.
But if everybody sit in office,
Yes.
leave those people behind, they will also feel that yes, I am poor. I have no other thing to do except farming. If you
Okay.
take things like that, you are mistaken.
You are mistaken.
So farming have to be in us. Farming is not only on educated people who are farmers.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
that I
Kausu, talking
disagree.
about animals, I am seeing a horse over there
Yes.
and a donkey. So probably, because we have a little bit of time, we're just gonna go there and you're just gonna give the viewers some
These
tips.
horses are aggressive.
These horses are aggressive.
They are aggressive.
Oh, they are. So then, but just take us through. If somebody has a donkey or a horse, what practical things can they actually put in place to make sure that they keep them safe when it comes to their health? So we just want to make sure before we leave here, you studied this, so we can give people some tips coming from a young person.
Like the number one thing is their
Yeah.
feeding,
Okay.
their health, where they sleep. That's the number one thing
Okay.
to be considered.
Okay.
Yeah. Without those things,
Yeah.
you are no more an animal farm.
Okay. So where they sleep and what they eat.
Yeah.
So what about vaccinations?
These things, our animals, especially mine,
Yeah.
and then those under my control and those under my family, their vaccination on their health is my first number one thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where should one get access to vaccination and all of that?
I have my own drugs with me.
Okay.
Our family, we have.
So you do help your community with
Oh
those
yes,
things
anything I see that I didn't like, if you don't call me, I went there by myself and I
to
see
go
that
and inspect and check
that
the
animal.
animals.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very good. But these ones look clean anyway. They look really really clean. I'm
Yeah.
seeing a well. So you're gonna take me on a tour of this place. I'm seeing a well. So is this the well that they use, the animals, or you guys get to fetch water?
This well have been here for a long time, but people are not using it. You see.
Oh, it's dry.
Yeah, we have a borehole. People are not using it. This has
Using-
been here for a long time.
Okay, it's been here for long,
Yeah.
so people are not using the well
No, no,
anymore.
no,
So which means that animals have access to proper water
We have a borehole here, especially for animals.
for
That
animals.
is brought by Project the Gambia.
Okay,
It's over there. They
All
have
right.
a reservoir there where they drink.
for the animals.
But
So
this
the
water,
well,
we are not using this.
but I think this well should be covered.
It should be
for the
covered. The covers
kids.
are here, but
Yes, I think this is very unsafe,
Yeah.
and it needs to be covered for kids. I'm also seeing some girls washing over there. I don't know if they'll be okay if we just go over there and say hi. So
unless we talk to them. but
Yeah,
I'm not
we-
sure because
but we can still go to them and say hi. It's not a big deal. I really want to try using this because I've never used this thing before.
why?
Well, I've just never used it, but I
Who
think
was for you?
that's a question for another day. Assalamu alaikum. Na ngeen def? Yéen a ngi fay? Okay, da ngeen di fóot? Ah? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go help. I'm gonna come. Ma ñëw dimbale. Acca kaay won ma naka la. Kaay naka la? Bii naka lañ ko dee def pour ma lii ko fi. Kaay acca. So yow noo ko dee defee? Jëlal side bi man ma def side bi.
Speak in Mandinka. These are Mandinkas.
I don't speak.
Allah.
You want to go there? Let's go there. Okay. Set na wala setangut? Set na. Dañu defaat ba ci kanam. Good? Okay. Welcome back, viewers, from that break. So that is all we have for you in this edition of the Youth Dialogue. Special thank goes to Actionaid and the EU for partnering with QTV Youth Dialogue to be able to provide you all this amazing content from rural Gambia. Don't forget to connect with QTV on our different social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Go and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay connected with what QTV has to offer. My personal social media handles are as well in front of you. Take it, contact me. I will surely pen your ideas down and eventually get to implement them. Like I said, I cannot bring all of Gambian youth on one platform at a time, but gradually we will make sure to reach out to all these young people and the amazing stuff that all of you guys are doing. I'm so proud of Gambian youth because of the amazing work that you are doing. I wouldn't stay a day without getting a message from a young person who wants to come on Youth Dialogue, and that is what we want. And I hope that all of you are registering to vote. It is your right to vote. Young people, go out there, get your voter's card. You saw my last episode. I got my voter's card and I'll be voting on December 1st. So make sure to go out as young people, get your voter's card to be able to have your voice. We do not want any scenario of people sitting aside and complaining that they do not want a certain leadership without them actually trying to exercise their constitutional rights. So I'm urging all of you guys to go and vote before the end of the 44 days. So till I come your way next week with other young people doing extremely well across the country, do stay tuned and bye for now.